What happens when the picture-perfect world you sold to millions shatters into a million pieces? When the smiles were a facade, and the secrets were darker than anyone could have imagined? This isn't just a fall from grace. This is a story of faith, fame, and a family fracture broadcast to the world. The Duggars were America's favorite megafamily. But behind the modest dresses and the counting kids, a storm was brewing. And when it hit, it exposed a tragedy so deep, so heartbreaking, that the echoes are still being felt today. Former siblings are breaking their silence, and what they're saying will leave you speechless. One of them even said, in the wake of unimaginable scandal, that the devil took his best shot at their brother, Josh. What does that really mean? And what does it reveal about the family's inner turmoil? Strap in. This is a story of shattered innocence, conflicting loyalties, and the desperate search for redemption in the glaring spotlight. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we dive deep into the stories behind the headlines, uncovering the layers that the quick news cycles often miss. Today, we're tackling one of the most complex and heartbreaking family sagas in modern television history. Before we go further, if you want content that doesn't shy away from the difficult conversations, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss what comes next. To understand the earthquake, you have to understand the landscape. The Duggar family, led by Jim, Bob, and Michelle, burst onto our screens in the 2000s. They weren't just a large family, they were a phenomenon. A symbol of conservative, Christian values. They preached modesty, courtship over dating, and a life devoted to God and family. Millions tuned in to see how they managed. It was wholesome, it was fascinating, and for many, it was aspirational. They built an empire on their image. Books, speaking tours, a political foray. They were more than a family, they were a brand. A brand built on trust, purity, and an unshakable public faith. But as we've seen time and again, when you build a pedestal that high, the fall is catastrophic. The first major crack appeared not in 2021 but years earlier. In 2015, a report was leaked, a police report from over a decade prior, detailing horrific acts. It revealed that their eldest son, Josh Duggar, had, as a teenager, molested several minors, including some of his own sisters. The public reaction was a mix of shock, fury, and profound betrayal. The Duggars' pristine image was instantly tarnished. The family went into crisis mode. They did a now infamous interview, where the sisters, victims themselves, sat beside their parents and their brother's wife, Anna, and were asked to relive their trauma on national television. The narrative pushed was one of forgiveness, of a past mistake, of a young boy who had sought redemption and was now a changed man. The show was cancelled, rebranded, but the shadow never left. Fast forward to the aftermath of Josh Duggar's 2021 arrest and subsequent conviction for receipt of child sexual abuse material, the family was fractured publicly. Some siblings stood by their parents. Others, like Jill and Jinger, began to publicly distance themselves, write books, and speak about a reckoning with their upbringing. And in this tumultuous period, a phrase emerged from within the family circle, reportedly from one of the siblings speaking about Josh's situation: the devil took his best shot. Let's break this down. On the surface, in the theological framework the Duggars were raised in, it can sound like a statement of spiritual warfare. It frames Josh not necessarily as a perpetrator who made choices, but as a battleground. It suggests an external, evil force, the devil, saw something good in Josh and attacked him fiercely. It's a narrative that can, intentionally or not, shift agency. It's not about a series of criminal actions and moral failures, it's about a cosmic struggle where Josh is a victim of the ultimate adversary. For those siblings who have broken away and spoken about the harmful systems they were raised in, systems they say prioritized image over individual well-being, this phrase might represent the very mindset they are trying to escape. It can be seen as minimizing accountability by attributing horrific acts to an external spiritual enemy, rather than addressing personal responsibility, systemic failures, and the need for genuine, professional accountability and repentance. For those still within the core family belief system, it might be a genuine expression of their faith perspective on tragedy. This one sentence, therefore, becomes a litmus test for where each sibling stands in this great family divide. And speak out they have. Jill Duggar Dillard's journey has been particularly documented. In her book and on her YouTube channel with her husband Derek, she's spoken openly about the pain of her childhood trauma, the financial exploitation she felt from the show, and the strict, controlling atmosphere. She's described a process of deconstructing her faith, of setting boundaries, a word rarely heard in the Duggar vocabulary of old. Her pain is palpable, and her quest for independence is a central thread of this story. Jinger Duggar Vuala, once one of the most visible daughters, has also authored a book and undergone a significant public shift. While perhaps more measured in her criticism, she has openly rejected specific, rigid teachings of her youth, calling them harmful and not truly biblical. She represents another path out, one still deeply faithful but critically examined. Then there are siblings like Joanna Forsyth, who appeared with her husband Austin to visit Josh during his pre-trial confinement, showing a different form of loyalty. And others who remain quiet, their silence speaking volumes about the complicated web of family allegiance, personal belief, and public perception. Each public statement, each social media post, each interview from these siblings is now dissected. Are they with their parents? Are they against them? Are they forging a new path? The unity of the 19 kids and counting is gone, replaced by a complex mosaic of individual voices navigating unimaginable public scrutiny and private agony. So where does this leave them? Josh Duggar is now serving a sentence of over 12 years in federal prison. His wife, Anna, stands by him, a decision that itself divides public opinion and likely the family itself. Jim, Bob and Michelle maintain a lower profile, their empire diminished. But the real story is in the next generation and the siblings. For Jill, Jinger, and others, the path forward is one of therapy, rebuilding trust with the public and themselves, and raising their own children in ways they see as healthier. They are monetizing their own stories now, through books and social media, which some criticize as yet another form of capitalizing on the family name, while others see it as a hard-earned right to tell their own truth. The grandchildren are growing up in a radically different world than their parents. Some will be raised with the same fundamentalist beliefs. Others will be raised with more openness, more options, and perhaps with the protective boundaries their parents lacked. The legacy of the Duggar brand is one of cautionary tragedy. It's a case study in what happens when a family becomes a commodity, when trauma is managed for public relations, and when rigid ideology clashes with human complexity and the demands of justice. This story is nowhere near over. Sentencing appeals may happen. More siblings may find their voices. The children are growing. The ripples from this catastrophe will be felt for decades. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about reality television, about belief systems, about forgiveness versus accountability, and about how families survive the unthinkable under a microscope. The phrase "the devil took his best shot" is just one piece of this vast and painful puzzle. It's a window into a worldview that is now being tested, challenged, and rewritten by the very children who were raised within it. Now, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this entire situation? Do you think the siblings who are speaking out are finding genuine healing? How do you interpret that phrase in the context of everything that's happened? Let's have a respectful discussion in the comments below. Share your perspectives. And if you found this deep dive into the ongoing Duggar family reckoning compelling, if you appreciate content that goes beyond the surface-level headlines, then do us a huge favor. Smash that like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We've got so many more deep dives into complex stories like this one coming your way. And hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. This is a story with no easy answers, no clean endings. It's a heartbreaking human drama that continues to unfold. We'll be here, watching, analyzing, and trying to understand. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to be kind to each other in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to check out our playlist on other famous family dynasties and their downfalls linked on the screen right now. And as always, thanks for being a part of this community of thoughtful viewers.